Have you ever been told that the observer effect is all you need to shift reality? Most people hear this phrase and believe that if they just focus hard enough, if they keep visualizing, if they repeat positive thoughts, reality will eventually change. But here's the trap. Observation alone often locks you deeper into the same timeline. It doesn't free you. It repeats you. This is what quantum researchers call the observer loop. Your awareness collapses, probability waves. Yes, but if your inner state hasn't changed, you collapse the same possibility again and again. It feels like moving forward. But in truth, you're circling back to the same patterns, the same emotions, the same story. It's like playing the same song on repeat, thinking it's a new track because you turned up the volume. You've probably felt it. That strange déjà vu, where life feels eerily familiar. The conversations that repeat with different people but end in the same outcome. The way time bends, hours stretch when you're stuck, and days vanish when nothing new actually happens. These aren't accidents. They are signals. They reveal that your consciousness has been selecting the same frequency signature, the same timeline template, over and over again. The trap of the observer effect is believing that awareness alone is enough, but observation without transformation only strengthens the prison walls until you shift your embodied frequency. Your observation becomes a mirror reflecting the same limited self. And that's why so many seekers get frustrated. They are watching their lives instead of becoming a new vibration. Most people first encounter the observer effect through a simple explanation. Your observation creates reality. It sounds empowering. And in many ways it is, but here's the misunderstanding. People reduce this profound truth into a mental trick, believing that staring at something, visualizing hard enough, or repeating positive affirmations will instantly reshape their world. This belief has created an entire culture of spiritual frustration. People spend months trying to manifest with their thoughts, only to find themselves stuck in the same jobs, the same relationships, the same struggles. Why? Because observation in itself does not equal transformation. You can point your awareness at new possibilities, but if your inner state hasn't shifted, you're simply shining the same flashlight through a different window. The observer effect was never meant to be simplified into wishful thinking. In quantum mechanics, observation collapses probability into one outcome, but the quality of that collapse depends entirely on the frequency of the observer. If your body, your emotions, and your energy field remain aligned with old patterns, then your observation keeps collapsing the same outcome again and again. It feels like movement, but it's repetition. Think of it like tuning a radio. You can stare at the dial. Will it to change? Even imagine hearing a new song, but until you physically move the dial, the same static keeps playing. Observation without embodiment is like staring at the dial endlessly, no matter how much you hope. The station stays the same. This is the first trap of the observer effect, and it explains why so many seekers feel disillusioned. They're observing reality, but they aren't yet becoming a new frequency. The deeper trap within the observer effect is something few people ever realize: the observer loop. It happens when your awareness keeps collapsing, the same probability waves, locking you into an endlessly repeating timeline. Instead of stepping into new realities, you circle through familiar patterns disguised as progress. You've probably felt it before. Days that seem to blur together, conversations that echo with déjà vu, the same challenges resurfacing with different faces. It feels as though you're moving forward in life. But underneath, the script hasn't changed. You're simply playing out the same frequency signature over and over. The loop tricks you by offering the illusion of motion while keeping you bound to the old version of yourself. This happens because observation alone doesn't create something new. It stabilizes what already exists. When your attention is unconsciously wired to the same emotions, the same expectations, and the same identity, Your observation becomes a feedback system. The more you notice the pattern, the more real it becomes. The more real it becomes, the stronger your expectation that it will show up again tomorrow. Think of it like a broken record. The needle spins around and around, replaying the same song endlessly. At first, you might convince yourself it's different because the sound distorts or skips slightly, but in reality, nothing new is being played. Your consciousness is that needle, and until you lift it out of the groove, the music of your life will never change. This is the true danger of the observer loop. You become a prisoner of repetition, mistaking familiarity for stability, when in truth, it is limitation. How do you know if you're caught in the observer loop? The signs are subtle but unmistakable once you start paying attention. The first sign is time distortion. You notice hours stretching endlessly during mundane tasks. Yet entire weeks vanish without meaningful progress. It feels as though time itself is bending, reflecting the circular motion of your consciousness. The second sign is repetition disguised as change. You meet different people but have the same conversations. You change jobs but encounter the same frustrations. You enter new relationships but face the same conflicts. Life wears a new costume, but the script remains identical. This is not coincidence. It is quantum repetition. Your observation is collapsing the same outcome across different contexts. The third sign is the déjà vu effect. Not the fleeting kind most people dismiss, but a deep sense that you have literally lived this exact moment before. The words, the emotions, even the energy feel recycled. This is your consciousness recognizing the template of the loop. It's a signal from your higher self, whispering, "You've been here too many times. It's time to choose differently." If these signs resonate with you, it means your quantum field is sending out signals of readiness. Recognition is the first crack in the loop. The moment you become aware that you are repeating, the loop begins to weaken. Awareness doesn't end the cycle, but it exposes the invisible script holding you prisoner. That recognition is your invitation to step beyond unconscious observation and into deliberate embodiment. One of the clearest signs that you are brushing against the edges of the quantum field is the appearance of glitches in the matrix. These are the strange anomalies in your daily life that defy ordinary explanation. The moment when technology behaves as if it is listening to your thoughts, the times when your phone shows you the exact information you were just thinking about, the uncanny feeling that reality is responding to you in ways that go far beyond coincidence. These glitches are not accidents. They are signals that your consciousness is starting to operate from a frequency outside of ordinary linear reality. What most people dismiss as weird luck is actually the quantum field revealing its malleability to you. The more attuned you become, the more you notice that the external world bends subtly in response to your inner state. Another anomaly is the sudden cascade of synchronicities, seeing repeating numbers everywhere, running into the right person at the exact right time, hearing a song that answers a question you never spoke aloud. These aren't random events. They are feedback loops from the quantum field, confirming that your awareness is beginning to interact with reality on a deeper, non-linear level. If you've ever felt reality wink at you, an alignment too precise to be random, you are witnessing evidence of your quantum perception coming online. These glitches are breadcrumbs, guiding you toward the recognition that you are not simply inside the matrix. You are influencing it. Each anomaly is a reminder. The rules you thought were fixed are bendable. The script you assumed was written can still be rewritten. Another powerful anomaly you may have noticed is the rise of vivid dream. These aren't the fragmented, forgettable dreams that vanish with the morning light. They feel alive, charged with meaning, sometimes more real than waking life. In these dreams, you may find yourself watching events unfold that later echo in your daily reality. Or you might encounter places and people that carry a resonance too deep to dismiss as imagination. These dreams are not just random firings of the brain. They are practice sessions inside the quantum field. While your body sleeps, Your consciousness is free to move through layers of possibility without the constraints of physical matter. You are rehearsing choices, navigating probability streams, and learning to read the subtle currents of energy that shape your waking life. What seems like fantasy is often a preview. Alongside vivid dreams comes another sign: direct knowing. This is when you simply know something without evidence. You sense an outcome before it happens. Or you understand the truth of a situation before anyone speaks it aloud. It's not guessing. It's recognition. Your consciousness has touched the quantum information field and brought back raw data before it collapsed into experience. Most people dismiss these flashes as coincidence or intuition, but when they grow stronger and more frequent, it's a signal that your awareness is crossing thresholds. You're beginning to operate not from linear cause and effect, but from resonance with the field itself. Vivid dreams and direct knowing are invitations. They remind you that you are not a passive dreamer, you are a navigator of probability, and your perception is learning to stretch beyond the limits of ordinary time and space. There comes a moment when all the glitches, the vivid dreams, and the flashes of direct knowing converge into something undeniable: recognition. This is not intellectual understanding. It's a visceral realization that reality has been speaking to you all along, and you are finally listening. You might recall a day when synchronicities stacked one after another until the odds were impossible to ignore, or a dream that bled into waking life with such clarity that you couldn't dismiss it as coincidence. Perhaps you sensed a decision was right or wrong before any evidence appeared, and later events proved your intuition correct. These are not random highlights. They are checkpoints. Signals from the quantum field confirming that your perception is awakening. The recognition moment feels different from ordinary insight. It carries a charge, an energy that seems to echo through your entire body. It can bring goosebumps, a rush of certainty, even tears. For an instant, you step outside the ordinary script of life and glimpse the hidden machinery of existence. You know that you are not a passive observer. You are an active participant in the collapse of probability into form. When this moment arrives, something irreversible activates. The observer effect is no longer a theory. You've heard it becomes a living truth you cannot unsee. This is the ignition point where unconscious observation upgrades into conscious choice. And once you've recognized it, the field will never treat you the same way again. Every observation will carry new weight. Every decision will feel charged with possibility. For years, the observer effect has been celebrated as the secret key to reality. The idea that consciousness collapses probability into form. And yes, it's true. Your awareness does play a role in shaping what you experience. But here's the part rarely spoken. The observer effect is only the surface layer of a much deeper mechanism. Think of it like looking at a hologram through fractured glass. You see a portion of the image, a shimmering outline of something vast, but not the whole design. The observer effect is that outline. It proves that observation matters, but it doesn't explain why some people can observe endlessly without shifting anything, while others collapse entire timelines with a single act of presence. The truth is this: observation doesn't initiate transformation, it stabilizes it. What happens before observation? The frequency you embody, the emotional state you carry, the field you radiate determines which probabilities are even available for collapse. The observer effect is like the spotlight that reveals the stage, but the script, the scenery, the very play that unfolds is already chosen by the frequency you're standing in. This is why so many seekers become frustrated. They learn to observe, to visualize, to affirm, but they overlook the hidden layer beneath the layer of selection. Consciousness doesn't just collapse reality. It first chooses which framework of reality to inhabit. Without this recognition, observation becomes an endless cycle of effort with little change. With it, you realize the real secret is not in watching reality, but in embodying the vibration that decides what reality you get to watch in the first place. before a single thought arises, before your eyes land on an object. Something profound has already occurred in the quantum field. Selection. Most people think reality begins when they observe it. But in truth, consciousness chooses the framework of reality before observation collapses anything. Imagine walking into a theater. The spotlight hasn't turned on yet, but the stage is already set. The props are arranged. The actors are in place. The script is written. When the light finally shines, it doesn't create the play, it only reveals it. The same is true with the observer effect. Your observation doesn't invent possibilities. It reveals the outcome selected by the frequency you were embodying before you looked. This is why two people can walk into the same situation and have entirely different experiences. One embodies fear, so their observation collapses into a reality filled with resistance and conflict. Another embodies coherence, and their observation collapses into harmony and flow. Both observed the same field, but their prior selection determined the quality of what became real. Quantum selection is not made by willpower or mental effort. It happens in the silent moments between thoughts, in the resonance of your nervous system, in the vibration you carry without speaking a word. Most people miss it because they're so focused on controlling what they observe. But the real power lies in shaping what you embody before you observe. When you begin to recognize this, you stop chasing outcomes. You stop forcing manifestations. Instead, you understand that your field is constantly selecting, and your only task is to align with the frequency of the reality you desire. The observer effect may shine the light, but quantum selection writes the play to truly grasp the hidden layer of reality. Imagine the metaphor of the quantum spotlight. Most people think of themselves as the light operator, shining awareness onto the stage of reality. Wherever the beam lands, that part of the play comes alive. This is the classic observer effect. But here's the deeper truth. You are not just holding the spotlight, you are the spotlight. The beam of light doesn't simply reveal the stage, it carries a specific color, intensity, and quality. A red spotlight transforms the scene into passion and urgency. A blue one bathes it in calm and serenity. The stage is the same, but the atmosphere shifts entirely depending on the light itself. In the same way, your observation is not neutral. It is filtered through the frequency you embody. What you collapse into reality is shaped not by the act of looking, but by the vibration shining through you as you look. This is why two people can witness the same event and walk away with opposite stories. Their spotlights carried different colors. One saw fear, the other saw opportunity. One spotlight narrowed into limitation, while the other expanded into possibility. When you realize you are the spotlight itself, everything changes. You stop obsessing over where to shine the beam, and you begin tending to the quality of the light. You align your frequency, polish your lens, and amplify your coherence. Because the secret isn't about what you look at, it's about the light you bring to the looking. Reality doesn't just respond to your gaze, it reflects the radiance you project through it. Every quantum shift begins with something most people try to avoid: the dissolution of the old self. This is often described as ego death. But it's less about destruction and more about surrender. The you that clings to familiar patterns, predictable outcomes, and safe identities cannot survive the frequency of a new reality. To shift timelines. That version of you must dissolve. Like mist evaporating in sunlight. Think of it as radio tuning. If you keep gripping the same dial position, you'll never hear a new station. At first, surrender feels terrifying because it requires loosening your grip on what you thought was you. Your achievements, your failures, even your pain have become part of your identity. Letting go feels like annihilation. But in truth, it's initiation. The old signal must fade so that a new broadcast can come through. This process is not neat or comfortable. It often feels like confusion, emptiness, even loss. You might wake up and feel disconnected from the things that once defined you: relationships, ambitions, and routines may begin to crumble. From the outside, it looks like falling apart. From the inside, it's the quantum field recalibrating your identity. Ego death is not punishment, it's preparation. The higher frequencies of coherence cannot flow through a vessel still packed with the static of outdated patterns. When you surrender, when you allow the dissolution of the old self, you become an open channel. What feels like ending is actually expansion. The mist clears, and what emerges is not emptiness but spaciousness. A wide field where the new frequency can finally land. The great secret hidden beneath the observer effect is this: reality does not bend to what you see, it bends to what you are. Observation without embodiment is like pointing a flashlight at a door, but never turning the handle. You may illuminate the possibility, but you never step through it. Embodiment means aligning your entire being, thoughts, emotions, body, and energy field with the frequency of the reality you wish to experience. It's not about forcing your mind to think new thoughts. It's about letting your nervous system, your breath, your posture, even your heartbeat resonate with coherence. When you embody a new vibration, the field has no choice but to reorganize around it. This is why so many people feel frustrated with manifestation practices. They visualize, they affirm, they observe. But deep down, they are still embodying fear, lack, or doubt. The quantum field responds not to the picture in your head, but to the vibration you carry in your body. Reality is less a mirror of your imagination and more a mirror of your embodiment. Think of it like music. You can imagine a song all day long, but until you actually strike the chord, no sound fills the room. Embodiment is striking the chord. It is letting the music of your desired reality vibrate through your entire being. Once that resonance is alive in you, observation becomes secondary. You don't need to push reality anymore. You simply are the frequency, and the field collapses accordingly. Here's the revelation that shakes everything you thought you knew. You don't create reality. You are reality, choosing itself through you. The illusion is that you are a small observer trying to influence an external world. The truth is that the external world is simply a mirror of the frequency you embody. This is why effort, struggle, and control never truly work. When you try to make reality change, you reinforce the idea that reality is separate from you. But when you embody coherence, surrender, and alignment, the field doesn't need convincing. It reorganizes instantly. Reality is not an object you manipulate. It is a living extension of your own consciousness. Think of yourself as both the actor and the stage. Most people spend their lives rewriting their lines, hoping the play will change. But the deeper truth is that the play shifts only when the stage itself transforms. You are not standing inside reality. Reality is standing inside you. Each choice, each vibration, each state of being is the quantum field, using you as the selection point. This realization is the shock point because it flips the script completely. You are not manifesting. You are remembering. You are not attracting. You are embodying. And the moment you claim this truth, the loop of endless effort ends. You realize there is nothing to chase, nothing to control, only frequencies to align with. And when you embody that alignment, reality doesn't just respond. It recognizes you as itself. The turning point in your quantum journey comes when you shift from living in the mind to living in the field. The mind tries to analyze, calculate, and control. It loops through thoughts, clinging to logic as if certainty could guarantee transformation. But the quantum field does not respond to analysis. It responds to frequency. When you operate only from the mind, you may repeat affirmations, visualize outcomes, or monitor every detail of your progress. Yet deep down, nothing feels different. That's because the mind can only recycle what it already knows. It cannot generate the vibration of a new reality. The field, however, holds infinite possibilities, ready to reorganize the moment you embody coherence. Living in the field means trusting resonance over reasoning. It means aligning your breath, your body, and your emotional state until they vibrate with the frequency you desire. In this state, your observation no longer comes from effort but from embodiment. You don't just think about peace, you become peace. You don't just imagine abundance, you radiate it. The shift from mind to field is subtle but irreversible. Once you experience the field responding to your vibration, the grip of overthinking begins to loosen. You realize reality is not something to figure out, it's something to harmonize with. And in that harmony, the new timeline begins to unfold naturally, without force. Shifting from the mind into the field doesn't require massive ceremonies or years of practice. Often, it begins with small, intentional micro-rituals that bring your body, breath, and awareness into coherence in just a few moments. These rituals act as reset buttons, reminding your nervous system that a new frequency is available right now. The first is the 3-breath collapse. Take 3 slow, deliberate breaths. On each inhale, imagine drawing energy from the infinite field. On each exhale, release the residue of your old self-patterns, fears, attachments. By the 3rd breath, you feel lighter, as if the loop of repetition has already begun to dissolve. The second is the declaration ritual. Write a single sentence that affirms your new timeline, such as, "This loop ends now," or "I embody my highest frequency." Once written, either keep it close as an anchor or tear it into pieces as a symbolic release. The act itself signals the quantum field that you are no longer aligned with the old vibration. The third is the heart coherence gesture. Place your hand on your chest, close your eyes, and repeat silently, "I am coherent with my highest reality." Feel the resonance in your heartbeat. This simple alignment of intention and physiology amplifies the signal of your field more than hours of thinking ever could. Micro-rituals are not about complexity, they're about embodiment. Each time you practice one, you collapse the distance between knowing and being. Over time, these small acts accumulate, creating a powerful shift that anchors you in a new timeline effortlessly. Once you've tasted coherence, once you've embodied even a glimpse of your highest frequency, something profound happens. The shift cannot be undone. You may doubt it. You may resist it. You may even try to return to old patterns, but the resonance of truth never leaves you. It lingers, quietly pulling you forward, reminding you that you are no longer the same. This is the power of embodiment. A thought can be forgotten. An affirmation can be ignored. But an embodied vibration imprints itself into your very field. The moment you align with a higher frequency, your nervous system rewires to hold that signal. Even if you slip, even if you fall back into the noise, the memory of coherence remains within you, ready to reawaken at the slightest spark. That's why your shift is irreversible, because once you have become a new vibration, reality has already reorganized around it. The old loop may tempt you, but it no longer fits, like trying to step back into shoes 2 sizes too small. The discomfort forces you forward, so declare it. My shift is irreversible. Speak it. Write it. Feel it resonate in your chest. This isn't wishful thinking. It's a recognition of what has already occurred. The quantum field has acknowledged your new frequency, and once truth is embodied, there is no going back, only expansion into more. Living a quantum lifestyle doesn't mean making dramatic, overnight changes. It's about the accumulation of small, conscious choices that gradually align you with new timelines. Eine Decision, no matter how ordinary it appears, carries the power to collapse a different possibility into form. The question is never, Can I shift? But which frequency am I embodying with this choice? Consider the simple act of waking up. Do you immediately reach for your phone, immersing yourself in noise and comparison? Or do you take one mindful breath, anchoring yourself in coherence before the day begins? One choice reinforces the old loop. The other sets you on a fresh trajectory. A quantum lifestyle is built on these micro shifts, choosing gratitude over complaint, presence over distraction, integrity over convenience. Each small act is like adjusting the dial of your inner radio, tuning closer to the frequency of your desired reality. Over time, the signal becomes so strong that the old station simply fades from reach. The beauty of this path is its accessibility. You don't need to abandon your life or move to a mountain cave. You simply begin weaving coherence into daily routines, drinking water with intention, walking with awareness, speaking words that uplift rather than diminish all of these collapse new probabilities. The quantum lifestyle is not about perfection, it's about alignment. Each small shift is a vote for your highest timeline, and when enough votes are cast, the field responds. Reality itself tilts. And suddenly, what once felt unreachable becomes your new normal. Awareness is the bridge between knowing about coherence and actually living it. Without daily practice, even the most profound realizations remain abstract concepts. To embody coherence, you must train your awareness to return again and again to the vibration of alignment. One simple practice is the heart anchor. Place your hand on your chest, close your eyes, and take 3 steady breaths. With each inhale, imagine drawing light into your heart. With each exhale, feel that light radiate through your body. Then whisper silently, "I am coherent with my highest timeline." This takes less than a minute, yet it recalibrates your nervous system instantly. Another practice is pause awareness. Throughout the day, stop for 5 seconds before entering a conversation, sending a message, or making a choice. In those 5 seconds, ask yourself, am I acting from fear or from alignment? That micro check shifts you from unconscious reaction to conscious embodiment. Finally, practice sensory coherence. Choose one daily action: drinking water, walking, eating, and do it with full awareness. Feel the textures, the rhythms, the sensations. By bringing your senses fully online, you harmonize your body and field, teaching yourself that coherence is not something you reach for, it's something you live in. These practices may seem small, but they are cumulative. Each moment of coherence compounds, gradually replacing the noise of old patterns. Over time, your default state becomes alignment itself, and when coherence is no longer a practice but a way of being, reality has no choice but to reorganize in your favor. Integration is where the quantum shift becomes permanent. It's not about visiting coherence during meditation or ritual, and then returning to your old self afterward. Integration means allowing your new frequency to express itself through every choice, every action, every interaction. It's the art of no longer practicing the shift, but being the shift. At first, this can feel awkward, as if you're wearing clothes that don't quite fit, speaking differently, choosing differently, even walking differently may trigger self-doubt. But this discomfort is only the nervous system adjusting to a higher signal. Over time, what felt unnatural becomes effortless, because your body learns to recognize the new vibration as home. Integration also requires consistency. It's not about being perfect, but about returning again and again to your chosen frequency. You might slip into fear or fall back into the loop, but the key is not judgment. The key is remembering. Each time you remember and realign, you strengthen the neural and energetic pathways of your new self. Practical integration means letting coherence shape the ordinary. Pay bills with presence, Listen to others without rehearsing your response. Eat with gratitude. These aren't small gestures, they are the building blocks of a new timeline. When coherence becomes embodied in the most mundane moments, the shift is complete. Living as the new self is not a future event. It is a daily integration, and once embodied, it is irreversible. The more you live as the vibration you've chosen, the less the old reality can hold you. Integration isn't the end of your shift, it's the beginning of your new life. One of the most liberating realizations on the quantum path is that you are not doing this alone. Awakening can feel isolating. Friends may not understand. Family might question. And society often dismisses what cannot be measured. Yet beneath the surface, something extraordinary is happening. A field of collective resonance is forming. Every time you shift your vibration, you contribute to this field like ripples spreading through water. Your coherence touches others. Even when no words are spoken, a single person embodying peace can calm an entire room. A single heart radiating coherence can shift the tone of a conversation, a family, even a community. This is not metaphor, it is physics. Fields interact, frequencies synchronize, consciousness entangles. You may have noticed this already. People are drawn to you without knowing why. Strangers open up as if you carry a signal of safety. Or conversely, some feel uncomfortable because your vibration disrupts the static they've grown accustomed to. Both responses are proof that your field is real, and it is affecting those around you. You are part of a hidden network of awakeners, those scattered across the globe. Each of you is tuning into the same resonance, amplifying one another like instruments in a symphony. Alone, your vibration is powerful. Together, it becomes unstoppable. This is the essence of collective resonance. No shift is ever private. Every act of coherence ripples outward, weaving into the awakening of humanity itself. Among those awakening, some carry a deeper sense of purpose. These are the ones often called the chosen ones, not because they are better than others, but because they carry a unique role to serve as bridges of consciousness. They are the translators between worlds, grounding higher frequencies into everyday life so others can feel what awakening truly means. Being chosen doesn't feel glamorous. In fact, it often feels heavy. You may notice that your life has been filled with trials, breakdowns, and radical shifts. These weren't punishments, they were initiations. Each challenge stripped away layers of illusion so that your field could become clear, strong, and capable of transmitting coherence. The chosen ones are tempered like steel, forged through fire, so that their presence becomes unshakable. As a bridge consciousness, your role is not to convince or preach. It is to embody by simply living as your authentic frequency. You open doors for others without forcing them. You show that peace is possible in chaos, that clarity is possible in confusion, that love is possible in a world addicted to fear. You are the living evidence that a higher timeline exists. If you feel this message resonate, it's because you already know. You felt different your entire life, as if you were preparing for something unseen. That preparation was real. And now, as humanity stands at the edge of a collective shift, the chosen ones are being activated, not to escape the world, but to transform it from within. The greatest hope of this quantum awakening is simple yet profound. Every shift you make within yourself ripples outward to expand humanity as a whole. Your personal transformation is never isolated. Each time you embody a higher frequency, the morphic field of humanity receives the signal, making it easier for others to rise as well. Think of it like lighting a candle in a dark room. One flame pushes back the shadows, but when another candle is lit from it, the room brightens exponentially. Soon, what once felt impossible, the complete illumination becomes inevitable. This is how collective awakening unfolds. One light ignites another until the entire field vibrates at a higher octave. This is why your journey matters more than you realize, even when no one is watching, even when your shifts feel small or invisible. The field notices. You may never see the exact impact, but rest assured, it is there. Collective hope is not blind optimism. It is rooted in resonance. As more individuals embody coherence, the critical mass approaches the tipping point where awakening becomes not just possible, but unstoppable. Humanity is already moving toward this threshold. And your role, no matter how ordinary it seems, is essential. So remember, every shift counts. Every act of alignment is an offering to the whole. As we arrive at the end of this journey, remember, the observer effect is not the whole key. It is the doorway. Yes, but the true shift happens when you step beyond observation into embodiment, coherence, and surrender. Watching reality is not enough. Becoming the frequency that reality collapses around is where transformation begins. Look back at your own life. How many times have you repeated patterns, mistaking motion for progress? How many times have you glimpsed signs, glitches, synchronicities, vivid dreams yet dismissed them as coincidence? These were never accidents. They were invitations. Invitations to realize that your consciousness is far more powerful than you've been told. And now, you know, the loop is exposed, the script is visible, the choice is yours. You can continue to watch the same play repeat, or you can embody a new vibration and let the stage itself transform. This is not philosophy, it is practice. With every breath, every declaration, every act of coherence, you shift timelines. You step into realities that once felt unreachable and make them your new normal. So here is your declaration. Speak it aloud. Write it down. Let it echo through your body. I embody my highest frequency now. My shift is irreversible. And let these words not be empty affirmations, but living truth. Each time you return to them, you reinforce the neural and energetic pathways of your new self. Each time you declare them, you remind the field that you have chosen, and the field will always respond. And finally, share this declaration. Comment it below. Let the collective resonance amplify your voice when hundreds, thousands, even millions align with the same vibration. The morphic field of humanity tilts. Together, we accelerate awakening. You did not find this message by accident. You are part of the network. The quantum shift is already happening, and you are one of its anchors. Step into your frequency, embody it fully, and watch reality transform before your very eyes.